Little girl, big dream. The story of Olympian Samantha Pesek. Little Samantha Pesek loved gymnastics. More than toys, even more than ice cream. And that's saying something. When she was just 5 years old, she watched the Olympics for the first time with her mom and dad. Of course, her favorite part was the gymnastics competition. She loved the way the athletes moved on the floor, the vault, the uneven bars, and the balance beam. It was right then and there that Samantha had a dream. A big dream. "I'm going to be an Olympian," she shouted. Her mom and dad said, "Dream big, Samantha. You can accomplish anything you set your mind to." Samantha thought, "To be an Olympian, I must be the very best gymnast out there." So Samantha practiced and dreamed and practiced and dreamed and practiced and dreamed some more. She even had her mom help her hang the word dream up in her room, so she would never forget her big plan to be the very best. In her room, she would close her eyes and pretend to compete in front of the world, just like the Olympians on TV. She told everyone she met about this dream. "I'm going to be an Olympic gymnast someday." She told her teacher, her neighbor, kids at the park, her coaches, the grocer. "And that means I have to be the best," she'd let them all know. The more Samantha practiced, the better she got. She soon found she was great at all of the events, except for one, the balance beam. She would climb onto the beam, put her arms in the air, take a deep breath, bend her knees to jump, and then nothing. For some reason, she was too afraid to do it. This made Samantha very upset. "I couldn't do it, Mom. I have to be the best. Or else I won't be able to go to the Olympics." Samantha's mom looked at her and said, "You have to have the bad days to appreciate the good days. Dream big, Samantha. You can accomplish anything you set your mind to." She remembered that when she went to bed at night, staring at the word dream on her wall. "I can accomplish anything. I won't give up, no matter what." That meant it was time to keep trying at that scary balance beam. And with the help of her new coach, Peter, she finally overcame her fears. With Peter's coaching and her parents' love, Samantha felt unbeatable. Next stop, nationals. Or so she thought. When it was time to compete for her big chance, Samantha made a couple mistakes. She didn't make the team and became an alternate. Samantha was very upset again. 2 little mistakes made her feel like one big failure. "I'm so mad I didn't win," she mumbled on her drive home that day. Her parents looked at her and said, We don't love you because you win. We love you because we love you. Dream big, Samantha. You can accomplish anything you set your mind to. Samantha kept practicing and dreaming and practicing and dreaming and practicing some more. Finally, the day came. The day she had dreamed about since she was 5 years old. She made the Olympic team. She was all set to compete and be the very best when something terrible happened. While practicing right before the competition, Samantha hurt her ankle. Oh no! Samantha was very upset. And then she remembered her mom and dad's words. I have to have the bad days to appreciate the good days. I'm not loved because I win. I'm loved because I'm me. Maybe being the very best doesn't always mean winning the gold medal after all, Samantha thought. Maybe being the very best me today means supporting my team. Samantha cheered on her teammates during their floor routines. You can do it! She cheered them on during all of their routines. Yeah! Dream big, she told them. Yeah! You can accomplish anything you set your mind to, she said. Woo! And they did. Woohoo! Even with her hurt ankle, she was able to compete in the uneven bars. And it was her best routine ever. She stood on the Olympic podium and was awarded a silver medal. She watched as everyone cheered for her and for her team. Today, Samantha coaches kids just like you and reminds them to keep dreaming, keep practicing, and keep supporting each other. Do you have a dream like Samantha? Dream big. Long ago, in the wilds of East Africa, when the savannas were new, this moody baboon discovered a powerful secret. It began one starry night when Caterpillar looked up at a twinkling star and whispered, "Oh, I wish I could be like bird and fly." Nosy Baboon heard and couldn't help but sneer. How can you fly with all those feet clinging onto that tree? Oh no, you're right. Caterpillar cried and spun a cocoon to hide. But Caterpillar still kept dreaming. Finally, Caterpillar broke free. Looking up at his star, he smiled big in who he is and clapped. But I can! I believe! Whoosh! Wham!
caterpillar grew wings. And Baboon's eyes popped out of his head as that first butterfly flew by and said, "Look at me, a bug who started with 16 feet can fly like a bird because I believed in myself and my dream." Excited, the next starry night, Baboon started playing his drum when he noticed Tadpole wish upon his twinkling star.
Oh, I wish I could dance and sing to that cool drum beat.
Baboon puffed out his chest with pride, but still he sneered. How can you dance? You got no beat to follow my beat."
Oh no, you're right.
Tadpole cried and swam so deep in despair that his tail started to shrink. But Tadpole still longed to dance. Finally, Tadpole turned and swam back to the surface. Looking up at his star, he smiled big in who he is and clapped.
But I can! I believe!
Whoosh! Wham! You can do anything! Yes, Tadpole grew feet. And Baboon fell to his knees from all he'd just seen, but kept pounding his drum to be in the fun as that first frog hopped to the beat singing,
Ribbit, ribbit, dream it, live it.
The next starry night, curious Baboon, who wanted his dream too, got close when he saw Flamingo wish upon her twinkling star.
Oh, how I wish for beauty.
But moody Baboon still had to sneer. Why, beauty? You're too ordinary.
Oh no, you're right.
Flamingo cried in such pain that she turned an awful gray. But Flamingo still hoped for beauty. Finally, Flamingo felt her beauty within. Looking up at her star, she smiled big in who she is and clapped.
But I can! I believe!
Whoosh! Wham! You can have anything! Yes! Flamingo turned an amazing shade of pink. And this time, Baboon tried to catch her wished-upon star, but he missed and fell down hard. Now he lay back in pain, scratching his head as Flamingo flew by and said,
Look at me! I'm extraordinary! Please never give up on your dreams.
We're all full of possibility, even you, moody Baboon. The next starry night, Baboon thinks he figured out their secret. So he finds his twinkling star and makes a wish.
Oh, I really wish to celebrate everyone's dream coming true and encourage others too.
But then Baboon sneered at himself.
Who would even come to my celebration? I've been a buffoon of a baboon.
Alone and miserable, Termite stood near and sneered.
No one.
Oh no, you're right.
Baboon cried as he covered his face in shame. But Baboon still kept imagining ways to celebrate. Finally, Baboon uncovered his face. Looking up at his star, he smiled big in who he is and boom! Clapped!
But I believe.
Whoosh! Wham! You can celebrate your life. Yes! Baboon radiated fun, and everyone actually came as he passed out pom-poms and drums for his boom shake celebration.
Wahoo, shake your pom-poms, shake and know. You guys are heroes to show us how.
But Baboon stopped mid-cheer because someone wasn't there. Who was missing? Termite. Baboon had seen her wish upon a star for a home like the bees, filled with friends and family. Instead, Termite dug a hole, and Baboon found her all alone. She'd been too afraid to try. So Baboon got Frog, and together they wrote her a song. Sing along.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, smile big in who you are. Clap again and dare believe, dreams come true for you and me. We will wish upon our star, guiding us, we will go far.
After the song, Termite, looking up at her star, smiled big in who she is and clapped.
But I can. I believe.
Whoosh! Wham! You can love and be loved. Yes, Termite built a giant castle full of love, fun, friends, and family. They even crowned Termite Queen as she bowed and said,
If someone as miserable as me can live her dream, you can too. So please try the secret. Shh. Wish upon your star. Smile big in who you are and believe.
With that, Baboon and his newfound friends finished his boom shake celebration.
Wahoo, shake your pom-poms, smile big in who you are. With hearts of stars lit, you can go far.
Little sock. Hi.
Little Sock lives in a drawer. Little Sock gets worn. Little Sock gets dirty. Ugh. And Little Sock gets washed. For Little Sock, every day is the same. All the other socks seem happy. But Little Sock dreams of something different. He has heard of a magical place called Sock City, where every day is a new adventure. The only way to get to Sock City is through a secret tunnel in the back of the dryer. Late one night, Little Sock sneaks out of the drawer and climbs into the tunnel. The tunnel is very dark and very scary. But Little Sock is brave. Finally, he sees a light at the end of the tunnel. There it is! Sock City! Everywhere Little Sock looks, he sees something new and exciting. There are big socks.
No.
And tiny socks. New socks.
Oh, hello.
Old socks.
Oh, hello.
Sporty socks. Striped socks. Polka dot socks.
Hey.
And even smelly socks. Oh, yeah! So many different socks doing different things. Every day is a new adventure. Little Sock had the best time in Sock City. He can't wait to go back again. Maybe bring a friend. Oh, let's go!
The Boy Who Grew a Forest. The true story of Jadav Paying. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is now. Proverb. In India, on a large river island, among farms and families, hard at work, there lived a boy who loved trees. Trees meant shade, food, and shelter for many. But each rainy season, floodwaters swallowed more and more of the beautiful tree-covered land. The boy's precious island was shrinking, eroding away with the rushing river, leaving empty sandbars behind. The boy witnessed animals stranded on those sandbars, their homes destroyed. He feared that if animals withered without trees, people would too. The boy shared his fears with the village. The elders explained that the only way to help animals was to create new homes for them. They gifted the boy with 20 bamboo saplings. Alone, he canoed down the muddy river. He wished he could cover all the land with trees. But a large sandbar nearby was a place to start. The land was too barren for animals, the shores too sandy for leafy trees. Would bamboo grow? The boy hoped. Determined, he began to plant. 1 shaft, 2, then 3. Every day, he watered the saplings by hand, sweat trickling down his face and chest. He built a watering system to help and lugged heavy buckets from the river. His arms grew tired, his back sore. Still, each day he tended to the plants. And, over time, the bamboo patch grew into a healthy thicket. The boy was proud of his work, but he worried it wouldn't be enough to stop the swelling river or to provide shelter for animals. If he wanted more plants to grow, he would have to create a richer soil. The boy carried cow dung, earthworms, termites, and angry red ants that bit him on the journey to their new home. He brought seeds from neighboring villages, over trails, through brush, down the river. Each day he planted. As years passed and the boy grew, so did a forest. 10 acres, 20 acres, then 40. Wildlife returned for the first time in many years. Buffalo, one-horned rhinos, and snakes, gibbons, migratory birds, and elephants. The man's forest teemed with life and diversity. Not everyone was happy. Fear swept over the villages when tigers arrived. So the man planted more grasses to attract small animals that would keep the tigers happy in the forest. Elephants wandered into neighboring farms to feast on the crops. So the man planted more fruiting trees to help feed the hungry elephants. Some wanted to harvest the forest to build homes. But the man was there to plant anew. Others tried to hunt the animals for their horns and fur. But the man was there to protect. Few thought the forest would last, but the man believed in its strength. Now in India, on a large river island, among wildlife and trees as tall as buildings, there lives a man who has planted a forest. The forest is called Molai, after a man named Jadav Molai Payeng, who never stopped planting and pruning and protecting. Only by growing plants, the earth will survive. Jadav Payeng.
Ronnie and His Grit. Let me tell you a story about Ronnie Lott. When others gave up, Ronnie did not. Ronnie always did what he set his mind to. Dedicated and tough, through and through. As a boy, he bought shoes that were red as fire. The commercials said they'd make him fly higher. So with all of his effort and all of his might, Ronnie prepared for his very first flight. But all his excitement and thrill didn't last. He jumped through the air, but came crashing down fast. It was after his unfortunate plunk of a tumble that Ronnie felt something inside start to rumble. He sat there a bit, somewhat battered and bruised, and brooded across from his new pair of shoes. Maybe these shoes won't make me jump high. Maybe it's me and how hard I try. That rumble in Ronnie is what we call grit. A voice that encouraged him. Don't ever quit. Grit followed Ronnie as he grew and grew. Every time that he played or tried something new. He was skilled at sports, and that helped him thrive. But grit always urged him, continue to strive. Grit had a voice that was strong and impactful, but Ronnie still needed to learn to be tactful. Like when his coach said, "Throw as hard as you can." and he knocked someone over. That wasn't the plan. Respect those around you, his dad would say. Ronnie listened and learned along the way. In high school, Ronnie joined the football team and suddenly knew that he had a dream. When he put on his helmet and all of his gear, he felt that same rumble. His purpose was clear. While he missed some tackles and dropped some balls, he never gave up or stopped giving his all. When he fell, Grit told him, "Get back up again." When he lost, Grit said, "I know we can win." His mistakes were chances to try a new way, and tomorrow was always a brilliant new day. Years passed, and he joined a professional team. Ronnie and his grit were achieving their dreams. Sometimes he got hurt, and sometimes his team lost. He kept doing his best, no matter the cost. One fateful day on the football field, he was put to the test, and his grit didn't yield. Ronnie got hurt. It was really a zinger. He arose from the play, losing part of his finger. But even that didn't stop him from reaching his dream and inspiring others, including his team. Today, Ronnie's football days are past, but his grit stays strong and always will last. He continues to give everything his all, whether teaching kids or playing ball. Every time he helps inspire someone, every time he cheers on his daughters or sons, grit is helping him follow through. Give this life all you've got. I believe in you. Have you listened closely to that voice deep inside? The one that's telling you never to hide? Next time you're down or feeling blue, remember that grit lives within you too. It's the whisper that says, yes, you can. Yes, you can. It's the belief in yourself. It's your greatest fan. It's never too late to call up your grit, your own tiny voice that rumbles. Don't quit.
Dream you'll be. Go to bed, each sleepy child, and dream what dreams you might. Dreaming's good most any time, but especially at night. Dream you'll be a movie star with your name lit up in lights. Or that you'll be a superhero flying around in tights. Would you like to be a doctor, saving people's lives? Or perhaps a beekeeper, tending buzzing hives. What if you're a musketeer, fighting battles with your sword? Or a world-class surfer, catching waves upon your board? Whoa! Maybe you're an architect, designing a brand new city. Or are you a writer, telling stories warm and witty? You could be a brave firefighter, running through a fire. Or a fearless acrobat, high upon a wire. Whoa! Perchance you'll be a dancer, leaping across the floor. Or maybe a soccer star with the winning score. How about a veterinarian curing a giant snake? Or a skillful baker baking a giant cake. See yourself as a teacher, helping children think. Or a figure skater, gliding around a rink. You'd make a fine police officer, saving people in distress. Or a bold explorer, finding the monster of Loch Ness. Imagine you're an astronaut, bouncing on the moon. Or maybe you're a famous rocker, belting out a tune. Yeah! Dream that you're a pirate, sailing oceans blue. Or a brilliant scientist, finding something new. Whoa. Do you wish you were a pilot, soaring to great heights? Or a clever artist, painting the world's great sights? Maybe you're a mountaineer, climbing to the summit. Or a fearless skydiver, whose job it is to plummet. You could be a football player, winning games with teammates. Or maybe you're the president of these United States. This world is full of many things to dream that you can be. Just remember, you're already the most precious thing to me. Now, close your eyes, each sleepy child, and dream what dreams you may. I'll see you in the morning when you start a brand new day.
Allegro. A magical journey through 11 musical masterpieces. One rainy afternoon, Allegro sat at the old family piano. He was plink, trying to plunk, practice his latest bonk piece. But slam! It just wasn't going well. I hate this music, Allegro said. He crumpled it up into a tiny ball and threw it on the floor. There it lay, like a pale dot against the dark wood. But dots are funny things, because if they grow lines, and more lines, and march in lines, they become something that just might transport you to magical places. Away Allegro went, carried off on the sounds of enchanting melodies. He danced with the sailors of wind-tossed ships. He walked in the fragrant meadows of morning's first light. And he explored the shores of uncharted lands. Some melodies were sad and made his heart ache. Some were triumphant and made his heart swell. At times, he wanted to dance a jig. Times, he wanted to march and sing. And at the best of times, he wanted to stand up and shout with joy. I am Allegro! And then slowly, like the dimming light of the setting moon, the music faded. And Allegro was back home. It was still time to practice. So he did. And he did. And he did.
big. In the wilds of East Africa, hundreds of years had passed since the savannas began. The land was dry and desolate, with animals so hungry and mean that they had stopped believing in their dreams. Until this moody baboon discovered a new, powerful secret. Shh. It began one afternoon when Rude Rhino was desperately racing to eat a new patch of green grass, snorting.
Move, you stinky beetle! I'm starving!
But bam! Whack! Rhino smacked his rump with a bump to avoid a pile of dung, snorting,
Ow! You live in poop? You stinky beetle! You did this!
Baboon heard and couldn't help but sneer.
Wahoo, 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 you bully! Don't blame Beetle. You tripped. So?
Whined Rhino, rubbing his rump in pain.
It's still that stinky beetle's fault.
Beetle took a thoughtful breath and rolled the cure-all ball of mud he made to Rhino, stuttering nervously.
If you put this on your rump, it helps with the pain. Plus, I think you're really cool, Rhinoceros.
Surprised by Beetle's kindness, Rhino tried the cure-all ball. It worked. So, with the horn beginning to grow, Rhino gave Beetle a bump, saying,
Thanks, dude. That was really cool of you.
They shared big smiles, then bumped and clapped together.
We can! We believe! Whoosh! Wham! We can be kind!
Yes! Rhino fixed the termites' crashed castle, helped Baboon hollow his drum, and gave Beetle his yummy new snack from a stick, saying,
Dude, thanks to you, I know to make a point to be kind anytime my whiny, bully-bound power pout hangs out. The rockin' horns I just grew prove real coolness happens if I do.
The next afternoon, Baboon sat pounding his drum when he heard Mad Mama Hare scold,
You need to share your snack.
In trouble, Little Hare mumbled,
Fine. I'll go find my own food.
She left, and her mom cried out, Please stay, my sweet little hare. It's gonna get cold. But Little Hare kept walking as clouds filled the sky. Freezing and starving, Little Hare walked by Baboon, who sneered,
Wahoo, 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 your mom warned you.
So?
snapped Little Hare stubbornly. hiding her face, shivering cold, alone, and afraid. Rhino took a thoughtful breath and gave Little Hare his flattened mud ball, saying,
Get warm with this make-do mud cape. And dude, take my new snack from a stick. It's delicious.
Cool cape. I mean, warm cape.
Little Hare laughed at her joke with her very first hare hop.
Beetle's right. You are cool.
They shared big smiles, then hopped and clapped together.
We can. We believe. Whoosh! Wham! We can share.
Yes! Little Hare went home to share her new snack on a stick with her siblings. Little Hare had so much fun that she learned to hop, zip, pop, and skip, the skills her family needed to survive. They were so happy that their ears went up. Then they celebrated with a song.
Hop, pop, hip bump. Share and love big. It's a dream-tastic way to live.
The next afternoon, Baboon quietly asked Little Hare,
What do? I want my dream to come true too.
Suddenly, the ground shook under his bum. Bright-eyed Baboon saw why. Two lionesses were racing and roaring.
Stop that lion! He stole our snack!
Running scared, Hungry Lion crashed into Little Hare. Bam! Baboon sneered.
Hurry, lion! Get up! They're coming after you.
So?
Lion cried, terrified, and scrambled to his feet, starving.
They didn't listen when I asked, so I stole their snack.
Little Hare took a thoughtful breath and looked Lion in the eye, saying,
I understand, but I just learned it's hoppier to share. So maybe try that?
Lion, with a mane beginning to grow, forgot he was in danger. He was too busy smiling at Little Hare, saying,
No one's ever listened to me before, or helped me see what I need to.
Roar! The lionesses attacked. Whack! Smack! Boom! Kapow! Ow! Ooh!
Stop!
Baboon howled, swinging from the baobab tree.
Yes, I know what to do. There's another powerful secret. Shh! We can all use.
Baboon thoughtfully placed a crown on Lion's head. Then he said,
Break free. Go after your dreams. And know we are with you.
Lion broke free. Baboon and he shared big smiles and clapped together.
We can! We believe! Whoosh! Wham! We can listen!
Yes! Lion gave back the stolen snack, apologizing as his brilliant mane blew in the breeze. Then he declared,
We must share.
As they all ate, Lion listened, helping the lionesses with their problems. Grateful, they crowned Lion the very first king of the beasts. To celebrate, Baboon passed out his pom-poms and drums as Lion roared loud and proud in his new crown.
Take pride. Take time to hear with both ears, so you too can be a leader.
But Lion stopped mid-celebration because Little Hare squeaked.
Hey, you! What stinks? It's me.
Stuttered Beetle nervously, embarrassed by the dung ball he was rolling to Lion.
My home is stinky poop. Help me, please? What do I do?
Everyone laughed, thinking Beetle had made a doo-doo joke. But Beetle's feelings were so hurt that he quickly hid. After a thoughtful breath, Baby Baboon gathered everyone together to help Beetle with her new song. Sing along.
Twinkle, twinkle, share a smile, lights up stardust all the while. Dance we can and dare believe, loving big we all succeed. Twinkle, twinkle, hearts of stars, guiding us we will go far.
After the song, Lion looked Beetle in the eye and declared with his royal roar.
Since you first dared to care, we've learned to love big, working together to achieve our dreams. We thank you.
Beetle's smile was huge as they all shared big smiles. Then they clapped together.
We can. We believe. Whoosh! Wham! We can care. Yes! Beetle, you're our hero.
Everyone cheered.
Look! Your poop balls of fertilized fun, spread everywhere, are turning the savannah green. So now we can eat.
Beetle flip-flopped on top of his dung ball, dancing.
Yes! If someone as miserable as me, with the help of a we, can transform my doo-doo dilemma into something grand, we all can. So please, try the secret. Shh! Love big! Share a smile, and together, believe.
With that, the newfound friends put up their happy hoppy ears and celebrated with Baboon's dream, his boom shake celebration.
Wahoo, shake your pom-poms. Share big smiles with hearts of stars lit. Know we'll all go miles.
Courageous people who changed the world. William Wilberforce. It is inconceivable that we could be bored in a world with so much wrong to tackle. Little William saw people from Africa being taken as slaves. He knew he had to do something. William told everyone who would listen how bad the slave ships were. In 1807, the leaders of Great Britain finally agreed that the slave trade should end. Harriet Tubman. You have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to change the world. Little Harriet did not like being told what to do, but because she had dark skin, that's exactly what happened all day long. In 1849, Harriet ran north to freedom. She helped others escape too. People called her secret path the Underground Railroad. Abraham Lincoln. Be sure you put your feet in the right place. Then, stand firm. Little Abe saw many people working as slaves in America. No one could agree whether that was good or bad. Abe became president. In 1863, he signed a paper that said all the slaves would be free. Many people were angry, but Abe knew it was the right thing to do. Susan B. Anthony. Failure is impossible. Little Susan wanted to vote for her leaders like the boys could, but that was illegal for girls. Susan tried to vote once, but she got arrested. Susan spent her whole life telling people that everyone should be treated equally. Finally, word spread that things had to change. In 1920, women in America gained the right to vote. Mahatma Gandhi. You must be the change you wish to see in the world. Little Gandhi liked working things out peacefully. When Great Britain tried to make his people pay for salt, Gandhi didn't fight. Instead, in 1930, he walked 241 miles to the coast to get his own salt. Gandhi's peaceful march helped thousands of people realize that India should be its own country and that you don't have to fight to make a difference. Rosa Parks. I believe we are here on the planet Earth to live, grow up, and do what we can to make this world a better place. Little Rosa noticed that the children with white skin got to ride the bus to school. Children with dark skin had to walk to an older building. In 1955, a city bus driver told Rosa to give her seat to a man with light skin. Nope, Rosa said. She went to jail. Many people stopped riding the bus. After 381 days, the leaders decided to change the rules. Martin Luther King Jr. The time is always right to do what is right. Little Martin went shoe shopping with his dad. The owner said, "We only serve people with dark skin in the back." They left the store instead. One day, Martin gave a speech about how we should treat each other. "I have a dream," he said. He wanted everyone to be judged by their hearts, not by the color of their skin. In 1964, American leaders finally agreed that Martin was right. Malala Yousafzai. One child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world. Little Malala loved to learn. But in Pakistan, where she lived, some people said girls shouldn't go to school. Some people tried to stop her. Brave Malala didn't back down. She insisted that every child should go to school. In 2014, when she was 17, Malala became the youngest person to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. These heroes stood up to make a difference in the world. What kind of hero will you be?
Where Are You? By Jonathan Sundy. Where are you? Lounging in my nook, reading a good book. Where are you? Sitting on a cinder block, knitting me a winter sock. Where are you? Having a yummy plump plum with my lumpy stump chum. Where are you? Riding George the gorgeous porpoise past enormous surging orcas. Where are you? Getting ready to slurp spaghetti with Freddy Gazzetti, the sweaty yeti. Where are you? Riding on the back of a giraffe gone quackers while snacking on a pack of alpaca-shaped crackers. Where are you? Surfing on a blue spruce with old Rusty McDoose, but my trusty goose noose feels a wee bit loose. a wee bit loof? Where are you, goof? Is? I'm here in this box, safe from hard knocks. Do you want to come play? Not right now. I'm afraid. We could snack on the way. I think I'll just stay. If the here where you are isn't the where that you want, don't sit where you are feeling glum on your bum. Get up and start working to change where you're from. 'Cause bruises and gooses and fears and excuses can't stop you from living the life that you choose, Is? Is? Where are you? Oh, sorry for skipping the end of your speech. Had to rescue an Eskimo lost on the beach. Then I wrote a hit song about butternut squashes. Now I'm testing some specs on my rocket galoshes. Woohoo! Thanks for the boost. The end.
Plant a Kiss. Written by Amy Krauss Rosenthal. Illustrated by Peter H. Reynolds. It goes like this. Little Miss planted a kiss. Planted a kiss? Planted a kiss. Sunshine. Water. Greet. Repeat. Wait and wait. Getting late. Doubt. Pout. Sprout. Shout! Shout! Gather about. Wow. How? What now? Stare and stare. I'll share, she declared. Don't you dare! It's far too rare. It'll go bare. She didn't care. From there, everywhere. To and fro. High and low. rain. Or snow. With a bow. Alas, time to go. So she returned. There she learned. From one little kiss. Endless bliss.
Little Heroes, Inventors Who Changed the World. Kai Loon. Little Kai liked watching wasps make their delicate nests from strips of bamboo. In AD 105, Kai gathered tiny pieces of bark, old rags, and fishing nets. He mixed them together, pressed the mixture flat, and dipped it in water. When the sheet dried, presto! Kai had invented the first piece of paper. Johannes Gutenberg. Like a new star, it shall scatter the darkness of ignorance and cause a light heretofore unknown to shine amongst men. Little Johannes lived at a time when hardly anyone had books because it took too long to write out copies by hand. Around 1439, Johannes set metal letters down in a block. Adding ink and paper, Johannes created the first printing press. He could print thousands of pages in no time. Ideas started spreading around the globe. Leonardo da Vinci. Learning never exhausts the mind. Little Leonardo was curious about everything. He watched, he measured, he wrote, he wondered. He drew plans for machines that became real hundreds of years later, like a submarine, bicycle, and helicopter. With his greatest tool, a paintbrush, Leonardo invented ways to paint that made him the most famous artist in the world. Thomas Edison. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. Little Thomas was always reading and asking questions. One question was, why must I use dirty, smelly gas lamps to light my home at night? He began to tinker with light bulbs. In 1879, after hundreds of failed attempts, he finally found a way to keep one lit. Now people all over the world use electricity to see in the dark. Louis Pasteur. To know how to wonder and question is the first step toward discovery. Little Louis lived when no one really knew why people got sick. Using his microscope, he looked and looked and looked for the answer. Finally, Louis discovered something no one else could see: germs. He found that if you boiled the germs, they went away. In 1885, Louis learned that germs could protect people too. Since then, Louis' vaccines have saved millions of lives. Marie Curie. Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Little Marie loved to study elements, materials that come from the earth. She tested a special rock until she found a strange glowing blue light. What could it be? Marie had discovered a brand new element, radium. Doctors soon found that radium could fight off deadly cancers. In 1903, Marie was the first woman to ever win a Nobel Prize. The Wright brothers. Isn't it astonishing that all these secrets have been preserved for so many years just so we could discover them? Little Wilbur and Orville were brothers who liked to tinker with machines. One day, their father brought home a toy helicopter that flew. They wanted to fly too. They studied the wings, the tail, and everything they needed to know about flight. Crashing never discouraged them for long. Finally, in 1903, they flew the first airplane. Grace Murray Hopper. If you've got a good idea and you know it's going to work, go ahead and do it. Little Grace loved learning about math, science, and cool gadgets. Once, she took apart 7 alarm clocks just to see how the gears worked. When she got older, Grace figured out how to program a room-sized computer to respond to human language, not just number codes. Now people all over the world can use computers every day. These heroes imagined and invented a better world. What kind of hero will you be?
A boy like you. There are billions and billions and billions of people in the world. But you are the only you there is. And the world needs a boy like you. The world needs a boy to be kind and helpful, to be smart and strong. Maybe your strong is making sure everyone has a chance to play. Maybe your smart is knowing the precisely right, perfect pass to make. Oh boy, be you, the you that makes you feel most alive. Play hard, but play fair. Be a great teammate. Say, nice goal, and good try. Don't say you throw like a girl, ever. And remember, there's so much more than sports. There are vegetable gardens to grow and flowers to give. There are cakes to bake and eat too. There are instruments to play and songs to sing. There are stories to read and stories to write. There are science experiments to do and math problems to solve. Oh boy, be curious. Take a risk and raise your hand. Smart kids ask questions, so ask a lot of them. The more you know, the less you'll fear. Here's a secret that not many people know. Fear and bravery are partners. You can't be brave without first being afraid. If you're not ready to be brave, ask for help. This shows you're smart. Sometimes you may feel like crying. Cry. This shows you're strong. One day, you'll be a man, and men cry too. Oh boy, dream big. You are unique, and your dreams are yours to dream. It's okay to not know exactly what you want to be or what you will become, but whatever you become a good one. And remember this about dreams. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you work for. So work hard for what you want. In this world, you will meet all kinds of people, and all of them are different. Ask people to tell you their stories. Then listen. Listen hard. Stories connect all of us. They're part of what makes us who we are. Don't forget to tell your own story too. As you travel and come and go, hug your family and high-five your friends. High-five your family and hug your friends. Walk with your head up. You'll want to see where you're going. Smile at people and say hello. Leave every place you visit better than you found it. And leave every person better than you found them. Say please. Say thank you. Say, I love you. And if that's not exactly right, simply say, I like you. And, maybe most importantly, say, how may I help? Helping each other is the best way to make our world stronger. Oh boy, be thoughtful. Eat lunch with the new kid. Hold the door for the person behind you. Do the right thing, even when no one is looking. And most of all, be you. You'll discover that the best you is the you that is all you. Not a little you and a little someone else. You are original, and that's a wonderful thing. And always remember, the world needs a boy, a smart boy, a brave boy, a kind boy. Oh boy, a boy like you.
Think big. In the wilds of East Africa, thousands of years have passed since the savanna began. The animals continued to roam the land looking for food, with this moody baboon telling them what to do, when suddenly fear struck the land. It began one rainy day with Giraffe starving, trying to eat some leaves while mumbling,
I can't reach. I'll never eat.
Nosy Baboon heard and couldn't help but sneer.
Wahoo, wahoo, think like that. You'll go hungry.
Oh, no.
Giraffe groaned. So he tried to climb. He jumped. He even piggybacked on Kudu. But he lost his footing when curious Kudu moved to see the busy, buzzing bee. Suddenly, kapow! Boom! Whack! The sky screamed. Lightning struck a tree.
Fire! Oh!
Giraffe screeched, hitting the ground in pain.
Run!
Baboon shrieked as the tree split in two.
I can't!
Giraffe cried.
I hurt my knee! Help me up, Kudu, please!
But Kudu had run after Baboon. Baboon noticed and couldn't help but sneer.
Wahoo, wahoo, Kudu! Didn't you hear Giraffe cry out to you?
Yeah, but
Kudu panicked.
I'm scared. What do I do?
Kudu took a thoughtful breath and then turned and ran back to help his friend. Kudu jumped and sprang over hot, fiery flames to bump Giraffe to his feet. Kudu even leapt high to save the beehive, but yelped,
Help!
Kudu's tail was on fire. Beyond scared, Kudu got out of there, racing with Giraffe to the baobab tree. Kudu found a puddle. Plop. Psh. Then he collapsed with fear, muttering,
Life's too scary for me. I quit.
Baboon heard and couldn't help but sneer.
Wahoo, wahoo, Giraffe. Do something. Kudu just saved you.
Yeah, but
Giraffe grunted.
I don't know. What do I do?
Giraffe took a thoughtful breath, and feeling his brain and heart connect, he smiled big with a brilliant idea. With his neck growing longer, Giraffe strived to reach the leaves again and again as he stopped and clapped.
I believe in me. I am extraordinary. I can... Whoosh! Wham! I can go for extraordinary!
Yes, Giraffe did it. Using his extraordinary long neck, he easily grabbed some leaves. He gave them to Kudu and said,
This fresh food can help you feel better. And thank you. Your bravery taught me to stick my neck out and go for it. And what a view!
But Kudu didn't move. He just lay there, shaking in fear. Of course, Bossy Baboon couldn't help but sneer.
Wahoo, wahoo, do something, Bee. Kudu saved you, too.
Yeah, but
Buzzed Bee.
what do I do?
Bee took a thoughtful breath, and feeling her brain and heart connect, she smiled big with a great idea. Busy Bee flew toward the fragrant flowers to put her plan to work, clapping on the way.
I believe in me. I am great. I am thoughtful. I can... Whoosh! Wham! I can be grateful.
Yes! Busy Bee was so grateful to be alive and thankful Kudu saved her hive that she started dancing and singing.
My life is full of abundance.
Her dance moves were brilliant. They made an actual map that her bee community could follow to find flowers and collect enough nectar to make Kudu a new comfort food. They proudly gave it to Kudu and said,
Thank you. Hopefully our new sweet honey treat can comfort you from the scary challenge you faced to save us.
But Kudu didn't even move to eat the yummy smelling treat. Right then, brilliant Baboon swung down and howled,
Yes, Kudu, I know what to do. There's another powerful secret. Shh. We can all use.
Baboon put a hand on Kudu's shoulder and said,
Don't quit. Think big. Consider who you want to be. Know that we are all born extraordinary. Celebrate your possibility and ideas. Shout, I am... Yeah, but I can't.
interrupted Kudu, quaking with fear.
The fiery flames are right there.
Big-eared Elephant came to the rescue, trumpeting to Kudu.
Baboon's right. The secret, works. It's how I put these dangerous flames out. I am strong. I am fearless.
Yes!
Buzzed Busy Bee.
The secret helps me be all I can be. And I am unbelievably amazing.
Yes, Bush Baby added.
It reminds me I am loved and cherished, so I can hang through any crisis. You can too.
Yeah, but I quit.
Barked Kudu.
So leave me alone!
After a thoughtful breath, Baboon got Bee, and together they wrote Kudu a song. Sing along.
Twinkle, twinkle, know you are brave and kind, so light your stars. Smile, I can and dare believe. Thinking big, we all succeed. Twinkle, twinkle, hearts of stars, guiding us, we all go far.
As they sang, the wind changed direction. Whoosh! Snap! Pop! Fire surrounded them. As Baboon nervously sneered,
What do we do? Without help, we can't survive.
Baobab Tree took a thoughtful breath, and feeling its brain and heart connect, it smiled big with a grand idea. With the help of Big-Eared Elephant, Baobab Tree began to hollow out its trunk as it swayed in the breeze, clapping.
I believe in good. I believe in all of you. I am powerful too. I can... Whoosh! Wham! I can give to live and live to give.
Yes! Grateful Baboon and Kudu knew they could be safe from the flames in Baobab's new, awesome, hollowed-out clubhouse. Encouraged, Kudu hopped to his feet, ate the leaves, and grabbed Bee's sweet honey treat. But wait! Kudu saw terror in Bush Baby's eyes. She was falling from the tree, wailing.
Help me and my baby!
Oh no!
Kudu panicked.
What do I do?
Kudu took a thoughtful breath, and feeling his brain and heart connect, he smiled big with the perfect idea. With his horns continuing to grow, Kudu stopped and clapped.
I'll never quit. I am brave. I am kind. I can... Whoosh! Wham! I can be the best me!
Yes! Kudu bravely saved Bush Baby and her baby from the flames. Kudu laid them safely in Baobab's clubhouse with Bee's sweet honey treat and celebrated with Baboon, saying,
There's no doubt we can get through anything together. So please try the secret too. No matter what happens, never quit. Think big. Feel your head and heart connect with a big inside smile and believe.
With that, the newfound friends gathered safely in Baobab's clubhouse. The rain stopped the flames, and Baboon had everyone celebrate with his famous Boom Shake celebration.
Wahoo, shake your pom-poms. Smile big with grand ideas. Live out your yes, knowing hearts of stars are lit.
Nazari's fantastic future. Oh.
Hey, Nazari, what would you like to be when you grow up?
What tantalizing things await me? Ooh. Ah. Daddy, what about doing what astronauts do and fly to a new planet?
Whoa! Houston, this is Nazari. Do you copy?
Or I can be a farmer and make sure the food the world eats is organic. Yep, good crop season this year. Daddy! What about being a construction worker and building homes for all? Going up? Whee! Or I can be an engineer and make a bridge to the moon that won't fall. I got it! I'm coming for you, Moon. Daddy, what about being a doctor? So I can treat people that have been twisted and twirled. Deep breath. You're gonna be just fine. Or I can be a scientist and freely light up the world. Let's see here. Eureka! I've done it again. Daddy! What about traveling the world and seeing each culture's beauty? This looks delicious. Hi, I'm Nazari. Or I can clean teeth as a dentist with toothpaste that is fruity. Open wide. Have you been flossing? Good job. Wait, Daddy. Can I do all of them?
Let's Explore Space by Ali Stahl. We can find adventure all over the place, so let's get together and go explore space. Everett wants to go to the moon, to jump around and float until noon. Lucy hopes to visit Mars and see the Earth from afar. Elijah is dreaming of the chance to see a Martian do a space dance. Maisie and her net are prepared to catch a comet flying through the air. Now a rocket ship is what we need to travel through space at a great speed. Everett needs to go to the moon, so in his rocket ship he zooms. Lucy wishes to go and see Mars, so in her ship she blasts through the stars. Elijah can't wait to see Martians dance, so he races off through the great expanse. A comet is what Maisie wants to see, so her ship takes off. Ready? 1, 2, 3! On our way through the stars we soar. Now we have landed and it's time to explore. Everett longed to see the moon, and in his rocket ship he zoomed. Now he can float around all day, for he has landed. Hip hip hooray! Lucy wanted to visit Mars, so off she blasted through the stars. Now she can see her earthly home. It looks so small from where she roams. Elijah wanted to see Martians dance, so he raced through the great expanse. He found new friends, some small and some big. They taught him how to do a space jig. A comet is what Maisie dreamed to see, so she took off at a great speed. Now in her brand new net she found a comet so big and shiny and round. We had a great adventure here, way outside the atmosphere. It's fun to explore. There's so much to see. I wonder what tomorrow's adventure will be.
The stick. Once there was a boy who had no toys to play with. The other children in the neighborhood had lots of toys. Every afternoon, the boy would go to the park, sit under a big tree, and watch the other children play. Sometimes they let the boy play with their toys. Sometimes not. This made the boy sad. One day, as the boy was sitting under the big tree in the park, he noticed a stick leaning against the trunk. He had never seen such an unusual stick. He picked it up. Suddenly, he was a pirate. Arrgh! Then a baseball player at bat. And then a knight on a steed. The boy noticed that there were words carved into the stick. He sang them like a song. Imagination lives in you. It's the fire in all you do. Use it well, and you can be anything you want to be. The boy carried the stick everywhere, and anywhere he was anything he wanted to be. At the beach, he was a fisherman. At the lake, he paddled a canoe. He was a hiker in the highlands, and his imagination grew. Time passed, and the boy grew up. With the stick's inspiration, he became everything he wanted to be. He took business trips and airplane rides. He sailed the seas on rising tides. He gave of his time. He gave of his wealth. He gave from his heart. He gave of himself. He built a house high on a hill, overlooking the valley where he had grown up. In the distance, he could see the park and the old tree where he used to sit. As the years passed, the boy became an old man. But each day, he took his stick with him to the park and sat on a bench near the tree where he had found the stick so long ago. He would sit for hours, and watched the children play. All of the children seemed to have lots of toys to play with, except for one little girl. The little girl always sat under the old tree and watched the other children play with their toys. This made the old man sad. Early one morning, the old man walked to the park, but instead of sitting on the bench, he went over to the tree. He leaned the stick against its trunk, walked to his bench, and waited. Soon, the children arrived at the park with their toys. He waited to see if the little girl would show. He saw her walk slowly toward the tree. She peered down at the unusual stick leaning against its trunk. She picked up the stick, and suddenly, she was a princess. A fencer. Then a surfer riding a wave. She noticed that there were words carved into the stick, and as she danced away, she sang them like a song. Imagination lives in you. It's the fire in all you do. Use it well, and you can be anything you want to be. And the old man smiled and walked home.
Women in biology.
Come on, let's go! What makes a butterfly?
A caterpillar grows into a butterfly. But nobody knew exactly how that change, which is called metamorphosis, happened. Until Maria Sibela Marion. She loved insects so much that she spent years watching and drawing them. She traveled across the ocean to study the life cycles of caterpillars and other bugs. Maria's drawings were very detailed and beautiful, and they gave scientists important information about insects and plants.
Hello.
Her drawings were used in the Linnaean system that organizes all living things. This system is important in all of biology.
Hang on. What is biology?
Well, if we compared you and a rock, we'd find a lot of differences. But the biggest one is that you're alive, and a rock isn't. Biology looks at everything that is alive, like plants, animals, and you. People have been studying life for a long time. Almost 1,000 years ago, Hildegard of Bingen wrote about biology and medicine. Back then, people didn't understand that they could get sick from drinking dirty water. Hildegard figured out that water should be cleaned first, and this stopped people from getting sick. She also studied how plants could be used as medicines and shared her ideas so people could have better health.
Oh. So, biology keeps me from getting sick?
It can, because biology teaches us all about how the body works. When we know what makes us sick, then we can find ways to get better. Just look at Jane Cook Wright. She was a doctor who saved many lives by running experiments in her laboratory. She grew cells in petri dishes and then watched what different medicines did to the cells. Her observations helped her pick the best treatments to give her patients.
What are cells?
All living things are made of cells. Your body is made up of trillions. Each cell has its own special job. Muscle cells help you move, and skin cells protect your body. The cells inside your nose help you smell. Linda Buck won a Nobel Prize because she helped discover that nose cells have tiny message receivers called receptors. When different smells hit the receptors, the cells send messages to your brain. That's why, even if you closed your eyes, you could smell the difference between a flower and a dog.
Wow. But how does a cell know its special job?
Inside of every cell is an instruction manual called DNA. It's the blueprint or plan for your whole body. DNA tells the body how to make cells and build body parts like muscles, bones, and skin. It also determines the color of your eyes and hair and is what makes you, you. But DNA is not just in people's cells. It's also found in all living things. Barbara McClintock studied DNA in corn and discovered something completely amazing. By observing the colors in corn kernels, she learned that parts of DNA, genes, can actually switch places. She named these jumping genes transposons. Transposons were such a surprise that it was many years before people realized she was right and awarded her a Nobel Prize. Barbara loved figuring out tricky problems. When she made a hypothesis or scientific guess, she worked hard on her research and experiments to find answers. And it's a good thing, because her work with DNA and transposons taught us so much about our genes and DNA. You can start researching right now.
Whoa!
Pick something that you like and ask a question.
Okay. Why do butterflies have different colors?
Go on and take your own guess. That's your hypothesis. Then observe by looking closer, 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 and see if you're right. You may be surprised by the results.
The road not taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. And sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair. And having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though, as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay. In leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet, knowing how way leads on to way. I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. that has made all the difference.
Irving Berlin, the immigrant boy who made America sing. Irving stood on tiptoe to see over the rail. Behind him, too far to glimpse, was Russia, where angry Cossacks had burned his family's home to ashes. Ahead was America. What would they find there? Suddenly, people pointed to a strange green figure in the distance. Was this the famous Statue of Liberty? The passengers whispered. Then a melody rose and flew to her like Noah's dove in search of safe land. Shema Yisrael. Hear, O Israel. Irving's heart lifted and soared. His thin, high voice joined in, gathering strength with each note. The statue seemed to welcome them. God bless America, his mother said. God bless America, Irving whispered. He could hear the statue singing her own special song, low and warm. One day, Irving promised himself, I'm going to write a song just for her. Life in America was strange. Instead of his small shtetl with dirt roads and wooden houses, Irving wove his way through crowded sidewalks. Big buildings blocked the light. Carriages rumbled down streets, and a crazy, thrilling metal contraption called an elevated train clanked and whooshed overhead. He still heard Yiddish and Russian, but now it was mixed with English, Italian, and German from all the different people who had come to America. Music was everywhere. Irving sang in the synagogue with his father, who had been a cantor in Russia, the one whose voice carried people's prayers to the heavens. Walking home, the melodies in his head mixed with the crack of stickball games, the wail of the ragmen, and the creak of cartwheels on the cobblestones. Back in his family's crowded apartment, there were more sounds. The steady treadle of the sewing machine in the apartment next door, the thump of his mother kneading dough, and soft laughter when his father pressed his cheek against her floury face. Irving lay awake, late at night, trying to fit all the notes and words together. When Irving was 13, his father died. Still a boy, Irving quit school to sell newspapers, earning pennies to help feed his family. Ashamed of being another mouth to feed, he scrounged scraps and slept in a dirty tenement with hundreds of other ragged homeless kids. Even there, he was always listening. Snatches of jazz, bits of lullabies, whispered jokes. One day, while he was selling papers, he couldn't stop the notes swirling in his head. He burst out singing. People stopped, smiled, and tossed him coins. Irving stared at the bits of copper glinting in the sun. People were paying him for music? Would they do it again? He tried singing popular songs on street corners. Irving didn't have the strongest voice, but his hummable melodies and catchy rhymes made people smile and stick around for more. People threw enough coins that a passing restaurant owner noticed and offered Irving a job as a singing waiter. A real job, making music. Irving wanted to write the melodies he heard in his head and felt in his heart, but he didn't know how. So every day after the restaurant emptied, he slowly tried to pick out tunes on the old piano. At first, he was terrible, but slowly he got better. People noticed. When a singer at another restaurant wrote a hit song, Irving's boss asked him to do the same thing. Irving still didn't know how to write down music, but the restaurant's pianist did. He helped Irving write Marie from Sunny Italy. They sold it for 37 cents. At 19, Irving was a paid songwriter. Word spread about the talented singing waiter. Irving was hired to write words for songs by the Ted Snyder Company. But he wanted to write the melodies too. He sang tunes to a pianist and paid him a few cents to write down the notes. 4 years after his first sale, Irving wrote Alexander's Ragtime Band. The song was so catchy, so irresistible, it became an international hit. Years later, stars like Al Jolson, Louis Armstrong, and Judy Garland would perform it. People all the way in Irving's native Russia went wild dancing to it. Irving wasn't a waiter anymore. His songs made a lot more than pennies. Now he and his family were never hungry or worried about how to pay rent. But even after he moved to a fancy apartment, Irving would walk a few blocks to his old neighborhood in the Bowery, where he could listen to the rhythms of the street, the sounds that would fill his music. When the United States entered World War I, the Army put Irving to work, writing patriotic songs. He wrote an entire Broadway musical for the soldiers called Yip Yip Yap Hank. His mother watched proudly, wishing his father could hear the applause as Sergeant Berlin sang, "Oh, how I hate to get up in the morning." Every night, the audience roared as Irving and the 300-person cast marched down the aisles and out the door, singing the final song, "We're on Our Way to France." On closing night, the soldiers marched out the door and onto the troop carrier, which took most of them to France for real. "20 years later, when the United States was getting ready to enter World War II, Irving wanted to help his country again. He picked up a song that he'd originally written for the World War I show finale, but never used. It ended with 3 notes from the Shema, as he remembered hearing them on the boat, coming to America, long ago when the statue had smiled at his prayer. He blended the melody with his mother's words, "God bless America." At the end of the old melody, he added new words about the land he loved. Irving showed the song to his friend, Kate Smith, the famous singer. Would she understand what he was trying to say? Kate hummed the notes, read the words, and nodded. From the mountains, to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam, Americans all over the country huddled around their radios, listening to Kate Smith sing "God Bless America." On the eve of the dark days of World War II, the song filled them with hope and courage. It still fills people with hope and courage. Over the years, Irving earned a lot of money from songs like Always, There's No Business Like Show Business, and White Christmas. But he never took a penny for God Bless America. Irving gave everything the song earned, millions of dollars, to children in the Girl and Boy Scouts. It was his thank you to the country that opened its arms to countless people from all over the world, including a homeless boy who came to America with nothing but music in his heart.
Cinderella by Leslie Harder, illustrated by Natasha Herzl. Cinderella was a sad servant girl who had absolutely nothing to wear. Well, not nothing. She did have a handkerchief that she wore on her head, but it was hideous and full of huge holes. She did have a dress that she wore every day, but it was dingy and dusty, and worst of all, dull. She did have 2 socks that went under her shoes, but they smelled sour and were soaked in black soot. Cinderella's stepsisters, on the other hand, were not sad servant girls. They had everything to wear. They had colorful costumes, handsome hats, and shiny, showy shoes. That's why they were going to the ball, and Cinderella was sitting at home. Because everyone knows the ball is the perfect place for colorful costumes, handsome hats, and shiny, showy shoes. If only it was the perfect place for me, thought Cinderella. Yes, Cinderella had absolutely nothing to wear, but inside she had an awful lot. Inside of her there was a great, glowing goodness, a courageous, caring kindness, and a soft, safe sweetness. Even the birds and mice agreed. Her fairy godmother knew that someone as sweet, kind, and good as Cinderella needed to go to the ball. So with a whirl of her wand, the sweet servant girl's holy handkerchief became a twinkling tiara. Her dingy dress, a gorgeous gown, and her smelly socks, a set of sparkling slippers. At the ball, Cinderella saw more colorful costumes, handsome hats, and showy shoes than she'd ever seen in her stepsister's closets. And they had very big closets. Cinderella had never felt so happy in all her sad servant life. The prince was a bored boy who had absolutely nothing to do at his very boring ball. Until he saw a twinkling tiara, gorgeous gown, sparkling slippers, and a not-so-sad servant girl. He knew it was time to dance. And they danced and talked and smiled and laughed, song after song, after song, after song, after song. A prince might dance once with a girl wearing a gorgeous gown. He might dance twice with a girl in a twinkling tiara, or even 3 times with sparkling slippers. But when a girl has great, glowing goodness, courageous, caring kindness, and a soft, safe sweetness, a prince simply must dance, song after song after song, after song after song. The fairy godmother's magic soon faded, and Cinderella again had nothing to wear. But the prince did not care. He only cared for her. And of course, they lived happily ever after.
Sweet dreams, Sarah. Before the Civil War, Sarah obeyed her owner. Hurry up. Eyes down. Don't speak. Slaves were property, like a cow or a plow or the cotton that grew in the master's fields. But every day, Sarah dreamed of a different life. A husband, a family, a job that she loved. Her father was a carpenter. With a hammer in his hands, he could build anything. Sarah thought she could too. Then something happened that changed their lives forever. A new law freed people from slavery. Sarah moved to Chicago with freedom in her pocket, hope in her heart, and dreams swirling in her head. She made her first dream come true when she married a kind stair builder named Archibald Good. They started a family, her second dream. Sarah rented out rooms in their home to people who needed a place to live. She saved every penny she could to pay for her third dream, her own furniture store. Every day, Sarah worked alongside her husband. Measure, cut, sand. And every day, Sarah listened to her customers. Pretty crowded at our place. There are 5 of us crammed into one room. Sure wish the kids had their own bed. Many of Sarah's customers worked at low-paying jobs, and even those with big families could only afford to live in a one-room apartment. Sarah looked at the furniture in their store. Too boxy, too bulky, too big. Then Sarah had an idea, another dream. Maybe she could build a piece of furniture that would save space for her customers. If she could create a new kind of bed that folded up when it wasn't being used, each kid could have their own bed. Sarah hurried to the lumber yard, clutching her precious saved coins, and when she returned home, she began building her invention. Measure, cut, sand. Finally, she hammered in the last nail. Standing back, she looked at her creation, a desk, but not just any desk. Inside the cabinet doors, a fold-out bed was hidden. Sarah pulled. She pushed. Stuck. Sarah took it all apart and started over again. But everything went wrong. Wood split. Nails bent. The bed wouldn't lay flat. Sarah didn't give up. She took a deep breath and dove right in to fix it again. At last, she stepped back and smiled. Now, when she pulled out the bed, it slid back in without a catch or a squeak. Archibald wanted to sell it in the store right away, but Sarah knew there was one more thing she had to do. She'd dreamt it. She'd built it. Now she needed to claim it. Sarah needed to get a patent. A patent is a piece of paper from the government that says no one else can make or sell your invention. If someone else got the patent first, Sarah would lose the right to make and sell her cabinet beds. Sarah met with a patent attorney and they filled out the application. She explained how her cabinet bed was a new and useful idea. Sarah slipped the documents into an envelope and mailed it. And the waiting began. Months passed. Had the application gotten lost in the mail? Had they found out she was a woman or that she was Black? Sarah knew some people thought a woman should stay at home to cook and clean and take care of the children. She knew that others believed if you had dark skin, you didn't have a right to own anything, and certainly not a patent. But Sarah knew better. After a year, a letter finally arrived. Denied. There were already patents on similar inventions. Sarah needed to prove hers was different. Carefully, she changed a word here and a sentence there, explaining more about her unique mechanism, the idea that had come to her so long ago. Slipping the paperwork and a bit of her heart into the envelope, Sarah sealed her fate and sent it off. Once again, she waited. This time, a thick envelope arrived from the U.S. Government Patent Office. Sarah took a slow, deep breath. She slid out the papers. She read out loud. S.E. Good, cabinet bed. Number 322177. Patented July 14th, 1885. Staring at her name in print, Sarah proudly traced each letter. Her idea, her invention, her name in history. She had built more than a piece of furniture. She had built a life far away from slavery. A life where her sweet dreams could come true.
America the Beautiful.
Beautiful America stands strong and tall and free. It's built on freedom, sacrifice, and rich diversity. And though we don't agree on all, let's stand with single heart. We'll sing of all that knits us close. It's more than what pulls us apart. Like beautiful and spacious skies, or amber waves of grain, or purple mountain majesties above our fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown our good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. We share each step of pilgrim feet, whose stern impassioned stress a thoroughfare for freedom beat across the wilderness. America, America, God mend our every flaw, confirm our soul in self-control, our liberty in law. We venerate each hero proved in liberating strife, who more than self our country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, may God our gold refine, till all success be nobleness and every gain divine. We'll sing about our patriot dream that sees beyond the years. We'll celebrate when cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. Oh, America, America, let's sing with open heart. What stitches us together is much more than what pulls us apart. Oh, America, America, let's sing with open heart. What stitches us together is much more than what pulls us apart. America, my America.
If you don't have Vooks, what are you waiting for? It's a kid-safe, ad-free library full of storybooks brought to life. Ask your grown-up and start exploring more fun stories like these.
Thanks for watching. For more stories, try the Vooks app for free today.